Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Alex. I have talked about my journey removing refined sugar, specifically refined sugar, let's make the distinction, from my diet, a little bit here and there. It's something that is pretty important to me based on just like the benefits that I experienced when I finally was able to remove it from my diet for like a month, I would say, total. It probably took a couple months for me to notice certain differences, but others were just like immediate. Some of those differences were just the quality of my overall skin, which I'm wearing makeup right now, so you can't really tell. But I'm a dark circle girl. My dark circles looked brighter. Overall, my skin tone just looked like more even, less like obvious blood vessels around my nose, less just like spots in general, I would say. Overall tone was just like much more clear and bright. Another major impact was my overall like motivation and energy level. I woke up feeling like not groggy and like, oh my God, I can't get out of bed, but like actually like I want to get up and start my day and actually do things. One of those life-changing, I would say, is its effect on my overall mood. Removing refined sugar from my diet and just generally processed foods in general, has a massive effect on my mood. I notice when I'm starting to eat more processed foods, more refined sugar specifically, mood swings. Mood swings, my guy. Like I'm talking, it's just like up and down and sideways. It's all over the place. Depression and anxiety. My cat is chewing on a box. A cardboard box. I'm gonna talk about my mental health a little bit. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. I think at like some point every single YouTuber does do this. And I think there's like very obvious reasons why. That's not what this video is about. But just don't hate me. Anxiety and I go way, way back. Way back. So for instance, I know I read somewhere that anxiety disorders lead to, I believe, just like an increased risk of sleep paralysis. If you're someone who gets sleep paralysis, you might also have anxiety. My first sleep paralysis, I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I will never forget it. It was horrifying. Some people see demons. My stuffed animals like came to life and they were crawling slowly up my bed to try and murder me. It was great. I would say generally, if you spoke to anyone who knew me when I was growing up, especially as a kid, I was very anxious, very shy, very quiet, really didn't like attention, that kind of thing. Like I just had a lot of anxiety through, I would say, all my life. I don't think I've known not anxiety. There's like a norm, right? Like it may make some people feel like weird to say normal, but we have like a normal range. Like obviously all people experience anxiety in anxious situations or depression after maybe, something horrific happening, like the loss of a child. In my case, when I say I have anxiety, I'm referring to something that doesn't correlate to anything. When you're anxious and there doesn't appear to be any reason, when you feel depressed and there hasn't been, when you don't have that event to point to as the explanation for those feelings. So I would say that's how I categorize my relationship with anxiety and depression. I don't think I started feeling depression until I was like in high school, maybe like early high school, through until I was like 24, when I finally got on antidepressants, which is a hot button topic, I know. And like I think everyone's relationship with that kind of thing is very different. There's obviously like a few out there or like a decent amount of them out there. And like, if like you should be talking to a doctor, you know what I mean? Don't take any advice from me. All I know is I finally got on them and it changed my life completely. I just remember driving down the street and I was like, I felt like happy. Like I felt happy and I was like, holy shit, this must be like what people feel like. Like what? I didn't know that feeling. It was crazy. That was about 8 years ago. And I've noticed recently that my medication has been losing its effectiveness, which makes sense. When you're on something for a long period of time, your body builds up like resistances, As I've been trying to navigate that, I have greatly noticed an overwhelming like increase in those feelings and those mood swings and of anxiety and depression when I am consuming added sugar specifically. I have those feelings regardless, but when I implement added sugar into my diet, it's like catastrophic. As of recently, I would say my medication has been losing its effectiveness very slowly over the last like couple of years, I've noticed. I would have longer bouts of feelings of depression and anxiety. And within the last 6 months, I think it's completely like ineffective. And that's been a rough 6 months. So I've been trying very much to recognize certain patterns in the foods that I'm eating, in particular, whenever added sugar is involved. Now for me, I got a sweet tooth, my guy, okay? It's a problem. When I eat something sweet, I just want all of it. I want all of it, okay? I'm not just gonna have like a little bit, I want all of it. Now, what works for me is cutting it out completely. As far as I know, that's not the norm for most people. Most people have to indulge here and there in a healthy way, not go overboard, but can't like cut it out completely because that deprivation can cause things like binge eating and that sort of thing. I believe that's the majority of people. I don't work that way. I just don't. I try so hard to have like little bits here and there, and it's like addict behavior. So I have come to the conclusion that just cutting it out completely is the healthiest thing for me, not only like just in functioning, but also physically, like the way my body feels, and also mentally, the way my mind and soul feel, if I have one. So in that case, I don't necessarily condone people, like every single person, just completely cutting out added sugar. Because like sometimes you want to go to a coffee shop with your friend and get like a brownie or something. You know what I mean? Like it's those little instances that make that kind of thing, like a little treat, fun, I think. Social engagements. Going out to dinner with friends and getting gelato afterwards. However, if you are someone who has been experiencing these feelings of anxiety or depression, whether you've been diagnosed or not, and after watching this video, you recognize that you consume a lot of refined sugars and processed foods, I would highly recommend just trying to cut them out slowly. If you can get to a point where you cut them out completely for 1 month and see how it makes you feel, I think that is like so worth just trying. Because I think we can all agree that like everyone can benefit from just reducing the amount of like processed foods and refined sugars. You know, like cupcake bad, probably apple a little bit better, probably. And after a month, if you don't notice a significant difference, then like go back to it, dude. Like live your life. I'm so jealous of you. You can indulge here and there and like not ruin your life. I think it was like a few years ago now, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I was going through a skin journey. I was breaking out like crazy. People were pointing to my diet and they said you should try cutting out dairy. So I did. I cut it out successfully, like for an entire month. Didn't see a single change at all, but it was relatively easy and it was definitely worth trying. So I don't know, something to think about. I would say when I first started trying to cut back on added sugar, or like I had the concept of I want to remove this from my diet completely, but obviously that didn't happen right away. Like you should know it's not gonna happen right away. That was probably like 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. And I would say maybe like 2 or 3, it probably took like 3 years to get to a place where I was actually successfully able to remove it completely from my diet for like a month, probably. And there have been ups and downs. I mean, one of the reasons that I'm even talking about this is because I feel like I've been recovering since like the holidays last year, 2022. Just with like holidays and people visiting and I don't know, just like getting lax about it. And I recently came back from Japan. Japanese candy is so good. It's so good and it's everywhere. Why are 7-Elevens there so good? The Choco Boys, the little like chocolate mushrooms, bro, they got me, okay? They got me and they ruined my life. And when I started bringing that stuff back into my diet, I just felt, most recently I had like just this severe overwhelming feeling of anxiety the other night, and I just like fell apart, completely fell apart. And it feels so crazy when you have no control over your feelings at all. You have you have nothing to point to. You're like, that's where this is coming from. Or like, oh, it's understandable because like this just happened. No, it's literally nothing, nothing. So like I said, when I first cut out added sugar, I saw and felt a lot of physical benefits, like my skin, my dark circles brightening up, my energy level and all of that. And now that my medication has really lost its effectiveness, I'm seeing so much more how much it just destroys me in terms of my mood, the effects on my mood. And I have decided, and again, this isn't right for everybody, that I just don't eat it. I don't eat it anymore. I think I said that in my last video, or my first video, I guess, about cutting out added sugar, which I'll link if you missed, because I think I talk a little bit more about like how to, that I just don't do it, with obviously the knowledge that at some point I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna have a craving, I'm gonna order frozen yogurt, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. As long as I'm living my life as if I do not eat it, when those little moments happen, they are fewer and far between. That has been my experience. I do have a video that I made about like my favorite sweet recipes, like dessert recipes that are healthy, that don't contain added sugar. Just keep in mind, I do eat dairy. I believe a couple of them include dairy. So, you know, you could get dairy free. But I'll link that. I think it's on this side. Is it on this side? I never remember what side it's on. I'll put a link to that video if you want some healthy recipes. I don't have any new ones recently, but if I come up with any new ones, I will definitely share with you. I would like to have a conversation about this. I want to hear like what your experience has been with it. If it's something that you've noticed, if it's something that, if like watching this video, you're recognizing that like you eat a lot of processed foods and refined sugars, and maybe it's contributing to feelings that you're having. It's just been so like, it's just been so stark, my experience with it as of recently in the last like 6 months. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you guys, because I think it's important, and I don't know, it's worth giving a shot for everybody. I want everybody to feel good, you know? Plus, you're my little internet community, and the internet is so awful for our mental health. It's so bad. It's so bad. So I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to help in any way that I can. Okay? Let's all do ourselves a favor. Let's get off the internet. Let's go outside. Just for a sec. Even if it's just for a sec. Start and/or end the day in a positive way. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe and comment and thumbs up and turn on notifications and all of those things. Let me know if there are any more of these kinds of videos that you want to see, if there's anything you want me to elaborate on. Like I said, I'll link those other videos that are really helpful. And I will keep you updated on the sugar-free journey. I will say that since Japan, I have done a really good job of like finally getting back to cutting it out, and I'm feeling much better. So, all right guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. My background kind of looks like a chocolate bar. Rude. That's where my head is. Oh, also this makeup look, if it's not up, will be up. It's the latte makeup look. Thoughts? Okay, I gotta go.